Back in 1993, Michael Jordan retired for the first time ever. He went on a little side quest to play baseball, but Jordan Brand still had a job to do. Still had to keep releasing Jordan Brand shoes. While Michael Jordan was away from the game, the Jordan 9 still released with 4 OG colorways, one of which we saw last year, Retro, the Powder Blues. That is probably my favorite OG colorway of the Jordan 9s. And this year, we're getting another one, Air Jordan 9 Olive. Now this shoe is dropping on November 11th for $210 in the United States. It is an OG colorway. It did come back in 2002, 2012 as well. That retro, a lot of people didn't like, specifically around the shape of the shoe. It just looked off. And then 12 years later, we're getting another retro. And the Jordan 9 was actually the shoe that Michael Jordan is wearing for his statue outside of the Chicago Bulls Stadium. So it's kind of weird because he was retired when the Jordan 9 was officially released. So it's kind of interesting how they chose to go with that shoe for the statue, but it is what it is. And first impressions of the Jordan 9 Olive, I like it, but I think the Powder Blues are my favorite OG colorway. I will say I love olive, and I do really like black sneakers, probably more than most people, but for whatever reason on this silhouette, the two colors paired together, it just doesn't hit as much as these two colors on another shoe. I don't know why. And I love olive. It is one of my favorite colors. It's probably because I've never really been a huge Jordan 9 fan. It does have this kind of boot inspiration that I'm not in love with. A little bit too much for me. And if you remove the OG criteria, I think the Jordan 9 Cool Grays are probably my favorite Jordan 9 colorway ever. So this olive colorway, even though it is nice, I don't love it. In the upper of the shoe, it comes with a black leather-based layer. And the leather on the shoe, it is pretty standard for a Jordan Brand shoe in 2024. It's nothing super premium. You do see that polyurethane coating over it. It's not like super heavily overdone. So I do like that. You do see some of the texture of the leather come through, so that's nice. And then on the mudguard and the overlays, it is nubuck. And again, the nubuck is pretty decent, nothing super premium. It's basically about as stock standard of materials as you will find on most Jordan Brand shoes in 2024. And then moving up the tongue, you get this mesh tongue at the bottom, leading up to this Air Jordan tag at the top. And the tongue is also part of like this inner booty, kind of like the Airflight Hirashis. And that does affect sizing and fit. But overall, I do like this material. And this shoe comes with just black laces out of the box, no extra laces. I would have liked to see maybe like white laces, maybe even olive laces. But I'm not quite sure how that would look. Probably would give it a more like camo type of aesthetic. But black laces it is. I think I would have gone with black laces out of the box anyway. Wait, what am I thinking? I think red laces to match that Air Jordan tag on the tongue would look really good. And speaking of the laces, the Jordan 9 did introduce this one pull lacing system. So the idea is when you put your feet in, all you really need to do is pull your laces, tighten it, and it all kind of just syncs up. And I will say it is very easy to lace up. There's some shoes, especially as a wide footer, you just really gotta mess with the laces and it just becomes a chore. This one, definitely not a chore. I do like how this system is set up. Now, if you didn't know, the inspiration behind the Jordan 9 was the globalization of Michael Jordan and Jordan Brand in general. So you'll see a lot of kind of global references and nods on this shoe. To the booty of the shoe, you'll see that globe pattern that has the Jumpman stamped on top. And then right underneath, very subtly, you'll see the 23 that is embroidered on the heel. I really like how that looks. That is different to the Jordan 9 Powder Blues. So the most recent retro, we didn't see the 23 on the back. Actually, on the OG version of the Powder Blue, that also didn't have 23, but the 1994 version of the olives, that actually came with the 23 embroidered. So very glad that for this shoe, they included and embroidered the 23 that matched the original form of the shoe. Now the Jordan 9 does come with a polyurethane midsole with a Nike Air unit on the heel, as well as one on the forefoot. That does have a very unique type of sole. You see like how parts of it raise up, and then you see two Jumpman on the lateral side of the shoe, and then on the rubber outsole of the shoe, it is very unique. This is again a reference to the globalization of Michael Jordan and Jordan Brand in general. So on the right shoe, in French, it says dedicated. In Spanish, it says force. Italian, intense. French, freedom. German, graceful. On the left shoe, it says the word sport in Russian, independence in Swahili, freedom in Russian, athletic in German, and then hope in Swahili. And then you also see some Japanese characters and Mandarin characters. So one says world and the other one says sport. that little globe right next to the words. So overall, just a very, very unique rubber outsole with that big red Jumpman at the heel. And the insole of the shoe, you get Nike Air branding on the heel and the same red that you see on the tongue. Love how the red pops. And it is a Dreamcell insole, so it's not the best quality, not like polyurethane insoles. Yeah, just Dreamcell insoles. And the box of the shoe, very standard Jordan Brand box. Now moving on to sizing and comfort, I am a wide and flat footer for Jordan 9s. I stick true to size. I think it fits very well widthwise, lengthwise. And you can see from bird's eye view, it does kind of look fat for wide footers. There's like a bit of overflow on the sides that I don't love, but it fits nice. The inner booty wraps around and creates like a snugness within the shoe that's very comfortable. Doesn't extend all the way around the toe. I think that would make the sizing too tight. So whether or not you have wide and fat feet, I do recommend just sticking true to size. It is still like a pretty bulky and heavy shoe, but at least under your feet, you're not feeling like you're wearing just like, I don't know, thin cardboard or walking on thin cardboard like the Jordan 4s or like the Jordan 1s or like Nike Air Force 1s, just very stiff and boxy. It's not like that. The ankle lining, I will say, it's not like super, super puffy. It's not like the most cushioned shoe. It's very antiquated cushioning, but for walking around here and there, definitely won't cause you any problems. And that brings the total sole score of the Jordan 9 Olive to 28 out of 40. Pretty decent score compared to other general releases. Now first it is colorway. I like it, don't love it. Love these colors in isolation. I love black sneakers, but on the Jordan 9s, I don't know. It's just subjectively doesn't like in my gut instinct draw a huge reaction out of me. I love the hints of red that you see on the outsole as well as the tongue itself, but as a package compared to like other OGs, I just don't love it as much. Now in terms of the materials, it is pretty standard, nothing super premium. You do get a bit of polyurethane coating on the leather, which I've never really loved, but again, it is standard for a Jordan Brand shoe, and the nubuck on the overlays aren't like anything premium as well. It's not absolute trash, but it doesn't like exceed expectations. Now in terms of the comfort of the Jordan 9s, I do think they are a pretty comfortable shoe. For my wide and fat feet, I think it works pretty well. I really do like the inner booty system that the Jordan 9s have as well. Really wraps around your feet very nicely. And under the feet, even though the cushioning is pretty old, I think for walking around casual use, it is decent. And in terms of the versatility of the shoe, the Jordan 9 silhouette, like the shape, it is just two boots like. It is objectively not like the most wearable silhouette. Still looks very much like an athletic basketball focused shoe. And in terms of the wearability of the colorway, I think the olive and black might not be everyone's thing. I wouldn't say niche, but captures certain people's attention. I wouldn't say it's the most wearable colorway. I think a predominantly white Jordan 9 is more versatile. So in terms of versatility, I think it's decent, but it's nothing great. From Jordan 1 to 14, I will admit the Jordan 9 is probably in like my bottom tier of favorite Jordans. It is just a bit too much in terms of the shape, just too much like boots, and I get it, that's what it's going for, but just subjectively, I don't love it. But one thing I won't complain about is them bringing back an OG colorway on a shoe that is not like the Jordan 1 or the 3 or the 4 that they always try to kind of shove down our throats and oversaturate. I do appreciate when Jordan Brand goes to a model that they haven't retroed over and over and over again. So even though I don't love the Jordan 9s, I do appreciate getting this shoe in hand. So that's it. Thanks for watching. Sole Inclined. Let me know what you think of the Air Jordan 9 Olive. Like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. And remember, tomorrow may never come, so wear your shoes.